Hey everyone, Dude, it's Jude here, back with another video, and for today we're gonna make our own little hand trap tier list for Master Duel Season 8. So Season 8 has a pretty loaded meta with the Adventure Engine online, so lots of decks that can use the Adventure Engine are using it, like Adventure Tenny, Adventure Prank Kids, and that Prank Kids has DP as well, so that's kind of insane. And you get Floowandereeze, Eldlich is still a thing, Sky Striker is still a thing, Virtual World with Adventure Engine is also crazy, and there's Phantom Knights with Adventure Engine and DPE access, and even Sidelock on that. And there's just so many crazy meta decks right now, and new archetypes also arrived. So B Trooper and Dynamorphia are now active in Master Duel, so it's gonna be wild. So what you need right now in your deck is at least couple of hand traps that will keep you safe against a lot of the meta cards right now, and make sure that you can survive when you're going second, or allow you to stop disruption from your opponent when you're going first yourself. Let's take a look at the hand trap. So I'm gonna grade it to meta. Meta means you should have this on your deck, and you should find space for it on your deck. Second is solid option. Solid option is it's good as like a tournament side if you're playing Master Duel tournaments with siding, which is common, or something you can consider if you have the space for your deck. And niche is it fills a specific matchup. It's really powerful against a specific type of effect, or deck, but it's too niche. It's too specific, and it does not hit enough decks for it to become a must-have on your deck. So let's start with Artifact Lancia. So Artifact Lancia is a hand trap that prevents both players from banishing cards. So this is great against Floowandereeze. This is great against Eldlich. Great against Tri Brigade. And there are a lot of cards. There are a lot of decks that do a lot of stuff by banishing. So they pop off by banishing certain cards. So this is really effective. Right now, this is more effective than before. However, I think there are other hand traps that are worth putting more in your deck. So Artifact Lance is good, but it's a solid option. It's a good side deck option if you have space for this. Like if you're running a hand trap heavy deck, you can surely run this. By the way, if you can use Artifact Lancet to stop the effect of evenly match. So if you get hit by evenly match, you can just discard, activate Lancia, and you won't have to banish anything. So that's really great. So yeah, Artifact Lancia is a great anti-banish option, and it's really solid right now. Next up, Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, which is meta. Every deck should have this, or if you're playing pure Eldritch with trap cards and floodgates, you don't need hand traps. But almost every deck in Master Duel, or in Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG or TCG, you need to have Ash Blossom in your deck. You need to have at least one copy, but max of 3 for this one. Almost every deck, because Ash Blossom just hits every deck somehow. It hits any kind of search card, so that, or draw card even. So this shuts down Maxi, this shuts down the pots, and this shuts down special summoning from deck. So this can kill Fusion Destiny if it's not activated by Verte Anaconda. So this hits a lot of cards, and if you don't have this on your deck, it's gonna be a struggle. As I said, unless you're Eldritch, True Draco, or any of the Floodgate decks, or Trap Heavy decks, because they don't need hand traps. But for everyone else, yeah, Ash Blossom is a must. Effect Vader is a pretty unique case right now. It's kind of like Infinite Impermanence. It's a face-up monster negate, but only on your opponent's main phase. This is great at shutting down turns, or shutting down monster effects, which can end turns. So you can Effect Vader, Crystron, Halki, Fibrax, and if that's their only play, they won't have any other follow-up. So right now, Effect Vader is versatile because it's a level 1 monster and it's also a tuner. So you can grab this off Cyphering Graveyard effect. This is a light monster as well, so some cards require like light monster discards or light monsters in their graveyard, so this is very easy to have. And if you're running Chaos Ruler in a deck like Adventure Dragon Link, you can search this off the mill. So if one of the 5 cards is Effect Vader, you can pick this up and you have a hand trap to use on your opponent's turn. So I think Effect Vader is meta. I know more decks will run Ash Blossom, but Effect Vader right now is a very strong hand trap because it's a tuner that you can use for Hulky Fibrax just in case you don't have anything else. And it's a very handy negate that's pretty generic, so it can shut down plays by itself sometimes. Next up is DD Crow. Now DD Crow is a really solid hand trap that banishes 1 card from your graveyard. So if you banish like an Eldlich or an Eldlich trap, it's really decent on that. Or if you banish one of the fusion materials needed in the graveyard, this can shut it down. This is gonna be better when Branded Fusion comes out in Master Duel. But right now, it's a solid option because the card right after, the card we're going to talk about right after, is a bit better when it comes to the banishing part. However, if you're using Floowandereeze, you can search DD Crow using Robina. I mean, it's, you'd rather search Barrier Statue with Robina or Eaglin. But, if you have Eaglin on your hand already, and maybe even Barrier Statue, if you have a really cracked hand at that, DD Crow is a good search. Also a great budget alternative to the next card. So next up, we have Dimension Shifter. Now, Dimension Shifter, when you activate this, you can only activate this when there's no monsters on your graveyard. So you have to make this your very first activation. So Dimension Shifter, when activated, it sends every card from the field or hand to the banished zone. So it banishes anything and everything that was supposed to get sent from the graveyard. So it's a really nasty card. It can win games on its own. However, not every deck can run this. So Floowandereeze can run this because their gimmick, their main mechanic is banishing. They banish themselves instead of going to the graveyard, so they're not affected by this. However, not every deck can use this, and while I'll put this at niche, sometimes it's a decent side deck option if you just wanna shut down the turn and just set up like negates on your field. When you're like going first or second, so solid option right now. If you're running Floowandereeze, which is one of the best decks in the meta right now, yeah, please do. You need the Dimension Shifter to win more games. So next up, Droll and Lockbird. So Droll and Lockbird, whenever a card is added to the hand, you can activate this, and they can't add cards anymore. So if you're on Maxi and they add 1 card from the special summon, you can just activate Droll and Lockbird right after, and they can't draw anything from the Maxi effect anymore. Or when they draw from a search card, they can't search anything else after that. So Droll and Lockbird, while it's a very powerful card that actually kills Floowandereeze and kills a lot of decks, shuts down like Sky Striker, Mobilize Engage. It can shut down another pot activation if you're running 2 kinds of pots. And it shuts down stuff like Drytron, which is it's known for. So I think Droll Lockbird is a solid option. If you do have space for this, sure, run this. I think I'll put this like on top. Like if you have Ash Blossom and Effect Vader, you can add Droll and Lock. So it's a really great option to have. It's rarely dead, except for the cases where, trap heavy decks, floodgate heavy ones, control decks. That doesn't need much searching. Yeah. But still, really good. Okay, next up, Evenly Matched, and I think I'll put this in meta. Evenly Matched is a card where you can activate at the end of your battle phase and from your hand during the end of the battle phase, and you can banish your opponent must banish cards face down except for one, since evenly match counts as one card. So both you and your opponent only have one card on the field. But the catch here is if your opponent leaves a token and you activate evenly matched, they can't banish the token face down. So they have no choice but to banish every card on the field except for the token. So with the adventure engine out, with the adventure token, always you usually see it in Master Duel Ranked or in the Duelist Cup. So you can activate this, rip it at the end of the battle phase, and you shut down your opponent's board. You break your opponent's board. It's one of the best board breakers, and if you have this, you can put this on your deck. Maybe at least two will be really really great right now. But yeah, it's a really solid option, and it's super rare, so you can easily craft this and have a budget option. Next up, we have Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. Now, back in the day, this used to be a meta hand trap against Link Monsters, since Link Monsters were the strongest and most broken thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! A few years ago. And this allows you to draw cards based on Link rating, if I recall. However, since most decks don't just use Link Monsters, they use a lot of stuff. They go Synchro, they go Fusion, Xyz. There's just too many summoning mechanics, and targeting one is a bit too specific right now. So it's a very niche hand trap. Now, if there is a Link event, where we can only use links, I think this is gonna be a fun hand trap to craft. This is super rare, so you can just craft this and use it during the event. Sure, it may be only great at the event, but at least you get to use a piece of Yu-Gi-Oh history right there. An old meta hand trap, which is really neat. Next up, we have Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. So Ghost Bell is an anti-graveyard effect card, or anything has to do with the graveyard, any interaction. So this can shut down Called by the Grave. Actually, really powerful. It can do that. However, not many stuff. Apart from that interaction, it does not do that much. Sure, it can stop one revive, but apart from that, it's not too powerful. So this is pretty niche, and I think some hand trap heavy decks can run at least one of this for like spicy tech options, but it's not really that worth running right now. Next up, we have Ghost Ogre and Ghost Rabbit. Oh yeah, Ghost Ogre. Yeah, Snow Rabbit. So Ghost Ogre is a hand trap. When a face-up card activates their effect, you can send this from your field or hand to the graveyard, and it will pop the card. It will destroy the card. So right now, Ghost Ogre's main duty is to blow up Fateful Adventure when it activates, and when Fateful Adventure activates and you destroy it with Ghost Ogre, the effect won't work. This also works with Floowandereeze map with the Floowandereeze field spell, and if you destroy that, it cannot search. It won't activate its effect. So I think Ghost Ogre got a huge boost in this meta, and I think it's gonna be in the low end of meta. You can run this. It's a bit steep because this is a UR card. This is an ultra rare card, and it's a bit too expensive. You'd rather want Ash or Vader here right now, but if you have this, if you have like at least one of this, you can use it as crossout target, or if you have three of this, you can even summon this using emergency teleport in certain situations if you're running a synchro deck or Halki Fibrax or Auradon combo deck. So very handy right now. Okay, next up, Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherry. So Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries is an anti extra deck monster hand trap. So when your opponent summons like an extra deck monster, you can send this, you can activate this from your hand, and you can send the same extra deck monster. If you have it on your extra deck to the graveyard, it just shuts down. So this is a funny or slash spicy hand trap deck, because some control decks don't really need that many extra deck monsters for their own archetype. So that means you can load up on stuff like Hulky Fibrax, Access Code Talker, Verte Anaconda, DPE, Baron de Fleur. And when they're out on the field, you can just Winter Cherry them away from the field just right after they summon. So it's a really interesting hand trap. However, it's an ultra rare, makes it very expensive, and not many meta decks right now can afford to have space for generic extra deck monsters because they need that extra deck space for their own monsters. So it's, let's just say it's pretty niche. But if you can run this, if you have the space for this, yeah, be my guest. It's a really decent card. Next up, Ghost Mortar and Winter Chill. Ghost Mortar is a face up negate. Kind of like Effect Vader, and when the monster gets destroyed, you gain like life points. But it's a pretty niche hand trap. It's also ultra rare. These 3-1 Ghost Bell, Ghost Reaper, and Ghost Mourner are ultra rare cards, so they're really expensive. But you know, you can have maybe one of these, but you know, Ash Blossom Effect Vader is better. Ghost Ogre is way better. So Ash Blossom and Ghost Ogre, the two Ghost Girls that are way better, are the best ones right now. Okay, next up we're back with another old school hand trap, and that is Gore's Emissary of Darkness. So, you know, Gore's can be activated when you take damage, and you know, you can summon this and the token's attack and defense is the same amount of damage you took. This used to be great to block opponents from doing lethal on you. However, this is pretty outdated, so it's niche. You know, in the first place, you don't want to get attacked in the first place, so it's not that useful. Next up, Infinite Impermanence. This is on top of meta, next to like Ash Blossom. Infinite Impermanence is like Effect Vader, but you can use on either turn, and you can even set it, and it shuts down a column in front of it. So if your opponent activates a skill drain and the Infinite Impermanence is on the opposite side, you can shut down that skill drain for like a turn. Just really handy. And shutting down a monster face up. So always great. And you know, Infinite Permanence is very versatile. Going first or second, you kind of want to have this card on your hand. So it's really great. Next up, Maxi. Maxi is 1 and 2. Ash Blossom and Maxi. If you need to have at least 3 Ash Blossom and 3 Maxi in a deck to be at least competitively viable in Master Duel, or to survive the current state of Master Duel. Maxi, of course, you know, you people know this. Most people play Master Duel know this, or OCG, TCG, yeah. So when your opponent special summons, you draw 1 card. So if your opponent's deck revolves around special summoning multiple monsters, like an adventure deck, or yeah, like any adventure deck right now, like Adventure Tenny, Adventure Prankets, Phantom Knights, you're just gonna draw a lot of cards if they decide to take the Maxi challenge. So, but if they don't, that shuts down their turn and allows you to like pop off on your own turn. So yeah, must have. Next is Nibiru. Now Nibiru is a very crazy board wiping card right now because a lot of combo decks are in the meta. So you know, if you see an adventure deck that doesn't have a negate and they're on their 5th summon, throw Nibiru on that, and it's gonna be really really effective. And this is why it's meta. It's 4th. I think having Nibiru is more important than having Veiler right now. And if you can run at least 1 Nibiru for as a crossout designator target, you should. At least 1 can. It's really impactful. It can shut down an opponent's turn completely, except at the Emancipators, because Nibiru is a rock and they can just take advantage of having another rock on field. But yeah, against most decks that summon a lot, this is really really great. It's call it the great equalizer. Next up, Cyphering Gear Gamma. Cyphering Gear Gamma can negate hand traps when they're activated from the hand, which is great. And then it summons itself and a Cyphering Driver, so you have 2 materials to go into a synchro summon, a level 8 synchro for that, or Christian Hulky Fibrax. So it's really 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 effective right now, especially with Christian Hulky Fibrax and Aurora Dawn being very commonly used in the meta. So this is really great. However, not many decks can afford the 2 Gamma and the 1 Brick, which is Cyphering Driver in their deck. So kind of risky to run it, especially that it's semi-limited. So you might brick with this card. Your deck might brick with this, but it's arguably the best solid option out of all of this. Next up, we have Red Reboot. Red Reboot is a counter trap that can act like a hand trap. Whenever your opponent activates a trap card, you can activate this from your hand by paying half of your life points, and it will shut down all trap cards for the turn. And then your opponent can set a trap card from their deck. However, that doesn't matter because if you're facing an Eldlich, all of their traps are dead, and you can just play your turn as you're supposed to. And I think this is gonna be low end of meta. This is limited to 1 and it's ultra rare, so the price is steep even for 1 card. So it's a pretty good option, but not as powerful or not as like common or not as high impact as the other ones in the meta. But if you have this, put this in your deck because you're gonna face a lot of trap heavy decks eventually. Like Dinomorphia, Eldritch, and even Subterror are appearing right now. Even Traptrix dies to this too. Skullmeister is kind of like Ghost Bell, budget Ghost Bell, so it's niche. When you can shut down, you can negate a graveyard effect with this. So very simple. Solid budget option, but you kind of wish it did more against other decks. Next up, we have Token Collector. Now, Token Collector is probably meta right now. Because, with the Adventure Engine, you just pop this from hand, you kill the Adventure token. If there's an Aurora Dawn, you can just send Token Collector from your hand or from Graveyard, and it just pops all the tokens. And as long as this card is face up on the field, you can't bring out tokens. That's it. So it's really powerful right now. And I guess that's it for the Handtrap tier list. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 meta hand traps. 5 solid options and 6 pretty niche options that, if you want to go a bit spicy on your deck, want to have weird tech, you can go for the niche ones. But the meta ones, they're great must-haves on any deck. They can work on any deck right now. Solid options as well, they can work on certain decks. But yeah, this is a really... These are 20 hand traps that we ranked right now, and I think these are the 20 best hand traps. Even the niche ones can have their day. But yeah, the 15 ones here on the list, the meta and solid options, yeah, you should craft at least one of these, at least one copy of these. Because they're gonna serve you well in almost any deck you can play. And if you're planning to play some ranked or even go on competitive tournaments, yeah, you of course you need hand traps. People who play competitive should know that. But yeah, these are the best hand traps in Master Duel, and I'll see you in the next video. So thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions, hand traps that I might have missed, or maybe you don't agree with some of the tiering of the other cards here, which is fine, you can send your stuff on the comment section. That would be cool. You can like the video and share the video. That would I would be really happy with that. And you can subscribe to the channel, which helps the channel grow, and that would be really, really awesome. But that's it for a video right now, and I'll see you on the next video. So bye guys.